And I was decent in college. I was actually fairly average because I just wasn't a great ball striker. And then I figured out my ball striking my senior year, and that's what kind of led me to my really hot start to my professional career.
It was very hot indeed. So you win in 2015, you win the Shriners again, have a good run at the Masters in 2016. And, people hearing that would say, man, and there are people who have accomplished far less in golf and, are still out there and still grinding, or people said, if I had that talent, I would never, I would keep chasing and grinding for the rest of my life. Conversely, we just had Padraig Harrington on the podcast. You talked about players most players have a 2-year sort of hot streak and then are never quite the same. Right. So talk about your decision to go away from professional golf. Was it a specific thing in your swing or just a realization, or did you just want to try something else?
I was not getting any results. And I think that was the main thing that kind of led me to just the opportunity just to see if I liked it. I had no intentions of leaving the professional game until I ran into something that I felt like was a great opportunity for not only myself from a career standpoint, but for my family as well. It was, probably a good 3-4 long years where just was not providing, was not playing well, was working my tail off, and was getting no results. So I was worn down mentally and physically from injuries and just battle scars of not having any success. So it was not easy. Obviously, I think once I showed up to that first event at Southern Hills, though, it was like a cape was lifted off me a little bit. I just felt comfortable in my own skin finally again, which I don't know if it just the game had worn me down so much that I realized that, I had a personality outside of golf and golf didn't define who I was. And I think for so long, I think I was a little worn down by that. I think results shaped kind of how my day went. And once I kind of got away from golf a little bit, I finally realized there was a little bit more to life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that must have felt like a weight off when you realize there are other things out there. And
yeah.
Were there any other things that you were thinking about or considering aside from, broadcasting, which it sounds like it sort of came to you. But were there other things in the back of your mind? Like, what if I tried this or tried that?
Yeah, no, luckily I got down. I didn't have to get down that road too far. I was pretty lucky in the first thing that I tried went very well, and I realized I was a natural at it. So that helped a ton. I don't know what I would have done outside of that, because it would have been probably go back and still continue to try to play, because I still would have had opportunities to continue to play at the professional level with my PGA Tour status, being a past champions member. So probably continue to grind and hopefully that I'd start playing better. But I have started to play better. And I think the biggest key to that has been, just getting away from the game, just not having a care of what I was working on and attaching a result to a golf shot, which when you're not playing well and you see one bad shot, it's like what went wrong. And it's just this constant fix, and to where you have to be perfect. And I think my perfection mentality worked really well when I was playing well. But when I was playing poorly, it didn't really mesh quite as well, because I always wanted to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a hard game to be perfect at, for sure. I was going to ask you, how is your game now? How are you playing? And are you ever tempted to give it another go?
I would say I was playing better earlier in the year when I didn't have time to work on anything. And once the fall came around, I started to work on stuff. And I just immediately got worse. And so I don't know what it is with me when I start to go and work on something, because when I go out and play, I can't turn my brain off of what I'm trying to do. And I'm better off not working on anything. It's honestly, it's the weirdest thing, but the less going on in my brain, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's nice to just be able to play without expectation. It's like, yeah, sometimes that first round of the season is can be your best because you don't have any expectations and you don't know, you're just playing golf instead of playing golf swings. So while you were going through that process and struggling with your game, I mean, social media was tough on you. How did you deal with that, and what role did your friendships on tour play in dealing with that?
Yeah, I had a really tough time dealing with it, to be honest. I mean, I know the people that were giving me a hard time wouldn't tell it to my face. And I think that was the most difficult thing. Was I wanted to play better, to prove people wrong, because I knew I was talented. And there's a lot of people that believed in my talent that had watched me play before. My colleagues as well, they knew how good I was. But for whatever reason, I just could not get over the hump. And I think it was causing me a lot of anxiety that I didn't realize at the time, just how much it was bothering me. And if I would have done anything different when it came to that, I would have gone and talked to somebody about what I was going through. Because it's kind of this, with our professional, really any professional athlete, we train ourselves to not be breakable. And we want to be able to take on anything that comes our way. And that we should be able to handle criticism. We should be able to handle a bad break, anything that happens in the game of golf. I mean, just being able to handle any type of adversity is part of the job. And I don't think I'd ever in my life experienced just general, bullying would probably be a good way to describe it, but I would say that would be the genre where I felt like at times I just didn't know how to handle that type of situation, because it's never happened to me in my life. And I'm human. I do care about what people think of me. I want to be a good person to other people. I want to, get along with everybody. And so I really struggled with the fact that, that I was kind of a laughing stock for a while. It was not because of my talent. It was, I just couldn't quite figure out the game and why I couldn't hit it where I was looking. And frustratingly enough, I wasn't able to necessarily figure it all out. But I'm not the first person to go through something like this in the game of golf. And I think looking back on it now, it's given me some perspective of, that I wish I would have known that more people had gone through what I was going through, not only in golf, but in sports and in non-sports, and people are dealing with it every day. But it was kind of the rise of the social media golf culture as well. When I came out, social media wasn't that big of a deal, but as the years went on, it started to really ramp up, where it was just kind of bad timing, I guess.
Yeah, it was the golf Twitter toxicity was maybe at its peak or rising, certainly at the time. So bad timing there. And as you say, the frustration of it being sort of nameless faces who who certainly couldn't play well enough to play at your level, lobbing that criticism is it's got to be tough. Who were your friends on the tour, and what support did they lend to you during that?
My friends have always been, like Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Patton Kizzire, JT Poston, Trey Mullinax. I mean, those are guys I could really lean on when it came to advice. Graham McDowell as well. He played for my granddad at UAB. Keegan Bradley as well. He was, a guy that I played some practice rounds with as well. But it's tough because there's not a whole lot you can say to a person that really just they just can't get out of their own way, and it's just going to take something for them. It's going to have to be them to figure it out. It's not going to be anybody else, because once you're in that mode where you feel like you can figure it out, and it's just you're so close, you're working hard, and you don't want necessarily too much advice, because too much advice could be what send you down a wrong path. And I was really good my first couple years about really having small ears and not listening to what anybody else said, and just kind of doing my own thing. And I really laughed at people that kind of did what I did my last couple years on tour, which was changing, because you were good enough when you got there. And the only thing that was the wrench in my stuff was injuries. Definitely changed how I swung the golf club, and I felt like I couldn't make the adjustments on the golf course. And once you feel like you can't make the adjustments on the course, you really do need to find the fix, because it is the most important thing to do in golf, which is being able to react to what your golf ball is doing and to be able to fix it.